Are you ready for some quick, easy dinner ideas? Here are 6 of our favorite freezer meals that make getting dinner on the table a whole lot easier.
Hello family and friends, I'm Susan and welcome to my home.
Are you ready to make some freezer meals? Well, today we're going to be making 6 quick, easy freezer meals that you can put together and then you have them ready whenever you need them. If you're in a pinch or if you just don't know of anything you want to cook that night, grab that freezer meal out, put it in the crock pot that morning or in the Instant Pot that afternoon, and you got supper on the way. So let's go ahead and get started on those freezer meals. My ponytail is already up, and you know that means we're going to be doing some cooking or we're going to be doing some meal preparation. And let's get started on making these freezer meals. Let me tell you what I do to begin with. I go ahead and get all of my meat out and get it set to where it's easy for me to grab. And I go ahead and get all of my ingredients out, to get them all measured out and get them ready to roll. I get all of my canned food, the tops off, the ones that have to be drained and rinsed or drained, the ones that just need to be drained or drained, and those don't have to have anything, just poured in. So everything is ready to roll. Now the next thing I'm going to do before I start actually filling the bags is to write the information of what it is and the date on here so I know what they are. All of these are pretty much crock pot meals. You could put them in the Instant Pot if you wanted to, but it's just as easy in the crock pot. And the last one I'm making actually needs to have a little cooking time done. So I'm going to go ahead and put the hamburger meat in the skillet and let it be browning up so I can make that freezer meal last once the hamburger meat cools down. Now I have all of the Ziploc bags with their information on it and the date I'm going to make them. And like I said, we're starting off with ones that don't need any preparation, and we're going to end with the one that needs the hamburger meat. So the first thing is going to be Swedish meatballs. 1 can of cream of mushroom soup. 2 cups of beef broth. It calls for 1 cup of sliced mushroom. I'm just using a small can. It's probably half a cup, but that'll work. I'm just going to go ahead and put that in. 1/2 cup of diced onion. 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. 1/2 teaspoon of paprika. 2 tablespoons of A1 sauce. And 28 ounces of just original frozen meatballs. And here's what it looks like after you get everything in the bag. I will basically take it down and mush it up a little bit. I'm going to release it from the graspers. Then I'm going to seal it up. Get all the air out of it that I can. Take it out of the holder. And then mix all of this around. Now, lay it flat. And then I'll get ready to start the next freezer meal. And slow cooker spare ribs, barbecue spare ribs are what's going to be next. I'm going to go ahead and get that ingredients in. And you can see I've got all my ingredients laid out and ready to go in the Ziploc bag. So let's get to putting everything in. It calls for 1 to 2 pounds of country style ribs, which you know I got these on sale if y'all watch my grocery hauls. For like, what was it, $6? Yep, $6.23. Not a bad deal. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in. Okay, 1.5 cups of ketchup. 1.5 tablespoons of seasoning salt, and I'm using Lowry's. That looks about right. 1/2 teaspoon of liquid smoke. You know, that stuff goes a long way. 1/2 cup of brown sugar. And 1/2 cup white vinegar. And I'm going to go ahead and disengage them. We have everything in here. Right, now, I'm going to mix all this together and then lay it flat and get on with the next one. Next freezer meal I'm making is Salsa Verde chicken. I've got my chicken and all my ingredients laid out and ready to go. So let's get everything put into the bag. It calls for 1.5 pounds of chicken breast. Of course, these are not frozen. These are fresh. I'll go ahead and put them in. I got them for a really good deal. It calls for 1 can, a 16-ounce jar, Salsa Verde, thick and chunky. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in the container. It calls for 1 can of green chilies. I'll put that in. I've got 1 cup of chicken broth, 1 medium onion, a half a teaspoon of cumin, and 2 cloves of garlic, which you know I always used my minced garlic. So I'm going to do 2 teaspoons of garlic in there. And I love me some garlic now. It's a little garlic heavy. And I believe that's all I need in that ingredient. So let me go ahead and take it out of the clips. Take it out of the stand. And then I'm going to go ahead and lay it flat until I get it ready to go into the freezer. Now we're going to do some cilantro lime chicken. I've got everything laid out that I need for it. And we're coming down to toward the end of it, guys. We've only got 2 more to make. So let's go ahead and get it in the bag. I want 1.5 pounds of chicken in the bag. I want a can of corn that's drained. It calls for frozen corn. Y'all know I use canned corn. It calls for a can of black beans, which are drained and rinsed. Which that's going in there. 2 cloves of garlic. 2. A teaspoon of cumin. It calls for half a red onion. Y'all know I don't do red onion. I do Vidalia. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a half of Vidalia in there. It calls for the juice of 2 limes. I have just lime juice in the bottle. I'm just going to do 2 squirts. 1, 2. That should be about enough. And it also calls for a bunch of cilantro chopped. I do not like cilantro. I'm going to put a little bit of this cilantro that's in the container in there, but not a lot, because I'm one of those people that think it tastes kind of soapy. Just a little bit. There we go. Now, I have everything in. Salt and pepper to taste. Let me get it out. And then get it down here and mix it up as much as I can. And of course, lay it flat. And then we're going to get ready to do the next meal. And we're going to do the honey sesame chicken. I've got all the ingredients ready for it. So let's get it in the bag. Calls for 4 chicken breasts. My breasts were so big I cut them in half because they were so big. There we go, 4 chicken breasts. 1 cup of honey. A half a cup of soy sauce, which I'm using Bragg's Aminos. Half a cup of diced onion, which you know I'm using Vidalia, my onion of choice. 1/4 a cup of ketchup. 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil or canola oil, which I've got canola oil. 2 cloves of garlic, which you know I'm using minced. 2. You can add red pepper flake if you want it to be a little spicier. Whenever I make this, I may wind up adding some sweet pepper sauce or something. And then of course, like I said, put it on its side. And now we're ready to go with the last freezer meal of the day. Last but not least, the black bean taco soup. And I've got all the ingredients to go in it, so let's get it together in the bag. First thing to go in is 1 pound of hamburger meat that has been browned and drained. Well, that's cooled off too, because you know I started that to begin with. 1 medium onion chopped. It calls for 1 package of taco seasoning. Y'all know what I do. I usually do the taco in the big container, which is about 2 tablespoons. 2 tablespoons, well, a little bit more than 2 tablespoons. 1 can of corn. 1 can of black beans. 2 cans of stewed tomatoes. 1 8-ounce can of tomato sauce, and 1 can of diced green chilies. All right. Now that was what you call simple and easy. I just had to make the hamburger meat. I'm gonna go ahead and take it off the clips. Get it all nice and mixed about. Make sure that's nice and sealed, which it seems to be. And now I have got 6 freezer meals ready for the freezer. And here we go. I have all 6 freezer meals made. I'm going to go and put them out in my big freezer, flat like this. So whenever they freeze, they will freeze flat and it'll be easier to store, because if y'all seen my big deep freeze, you know that thing's packed. So I have to utilize as much space as I can. But having 6 meals, all I gotta do is wake up one morning, pop it in the crock pot, and then go to work, and then I've got a meal when I come home. Makes life so much easier. Been doing this for years. Just hadn't shown it on the channel yet until now. So, but yeah, black bean taco soup, cilantro lime chicken, honey sesame chicken, Swedish meatballs, Salsa Verde chicken, and slow crock pot BBQ spare ribs. So those are all ready to roll and easy. I hope that you've enjoyed the 6 easy freezer meals that we put together today. That'll make making supper a whole lot easier whenever you've got 6 available in the freezer. All you gotta do is get them out, put them in the crock pot that morning or in the Instant Pot that afternoon, and let them cook up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. We would love it if you'd become part of our channel's family. Until next week, have a great week. Don't forget to click that link below and subscribe so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos.
And let our family be a part of your family.